this video, we have a house that costs 100 million times more than this.
Oh, that's a little pricey, but you know what, it's worth it.
Hey everyone, this is SDG and welcome back to your weekly Smash Watch Guide. This is a weekly series where I look at all the LumiRank tiered events happening this upcoming week and go into the storylines, the seeding, the streams, and everything you need to be caught up. This is a bit of a slower week than the previous ones we've covered, but there's still a lot of significant events coming up, and next week is going to be something else. So the first event we're going to look at here is the Big House 11. Though this was initially projected to be a major, unfortunately there have been a lot of DQs from top seeds, such as Tweak, Zomba, Umeki, Riddles, and Kurama. And all this has caused the Big House to drop down from an A tier to a B plus tier, and it could even be all the way down to B tier by the time the event rolls around. Now there's a number of reasons for this to be the case, but I think the main one is that the Big House ended up squished between Rise and Grind and Luminosity Makes Moves Miami. This year, especially in NA Smash, we've seen a lot of the times when events line up on back-to-back weeks like this, certain events end up getting the short end of the stick. But by no means is this not still an absolutely stacked event. Looking at the bracket, with both Riddles and Kurama DQing, there's a big opening on one side of the bracket that I expect to be filled by either Louis Money or Chase. Now both of these players are coming off of a bit of a rough time at Rise and Grind, with Louis Money getting 17th to Mutace and Goblin, and Chase getting 49th to Pharaoh and MFA. But rest assured, these are still strong players who are definitely poised to make use of this opportunity. Then other players you're going to want to keep a close eye on include Omega and Doorstop, both of which had great performances at Riptide earlier this year, Omega actually getting 3rd there. Shattuck and Tarek are both coming off of strong performances at Rise and Grind, both of them making top 8 there. And then Anthony Isn't Cool was recently listed as the best player on the Michigan PR, as well as recently sponsored by Midwest Team 26 Rising. All of these players are definitely strong contenders to make top 8 or even higher at this event. Overall though, I think when you're talking about winning the event, there are two main options. One of them is Pocket, the young Midwest Steve aficionado formerly known as Onan. Pocket has had a bit of a mixed year, especially after how strong his 2022 was, but his strong performance at regionals as well as his top finish at Crown the 5th demonstrate that he still has what it takes to compete at the top level. His bracket is pretty rough though. He faces either Elijahman or Omega to make winner's side top 16, both of which can be pretty rough matchups for Steve. And after that, to make winner's side top 8, he's projected to face Wrath. And having lost to Sonics at the Ludwig Smash Invitational last year, this is another possibility for an upset. And then the player most expected to take this tournament would definitely be Dabuz. Dabuz has had some really strong performances recently and has honestly been knocking on the door of top 3 in the USA. With all the top player DQs, there aren't too many people left in bracket who, at first glance, you'd expect to realistically pose a threat to him. Louis Money, who he might see in winners finals, has beaten him before this year though, and he's also coming off of somewhat of a tough time himself from Rise and Grind last week, having lost to Lima and Anathema for 9th place. But if I were a betting man, I definitely wouldn't count Dabuz out. Ultimate singles of the Big House 11 will start at 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, but won't be on stream until 2 p.m. Then Top 32 will start at 11 a.m. on Sunday, and Top 8 will start at 6. You'll find the Big House 11 streaming on twitch.tv/BTSSmash and twitch.tv/BTSSmash2. Next up for this week is Itsukushima No. 2. This is the largest Japanese event this week, and it features a ton of strong players from across the super region. The top 2 seeds are Ashimo and Yaura, both of whom have been really strong players this year, both being ranked top 20 on the LumiRank mid-year. Ashimo has been a consistent top 8 threat at many of the majors he's attended, and Yaura hasn't been far behind. These two originally come from the same region, and their head-to-head this year has been really close, so if they both make it to grand finals, it's sure to be a really exciting set. Another player I want to highlight here is Akakiksu. This hero player, best known for their explosive breakout at Kaguribi 3 in 2021, had a bit of a rough start to the year. But more recent events, including a 17th place finish at Kaguribi 11 that included a win on Neo, have shown that they're definitely back in top form. I think Akakiksu is definitely someone you're going to want to watch closely going into this. And lastly, I want to highlight a bunch of rising stars who found themselves in the top 32 seeds. Rocky and Mirror are two players highlighting Akola's original combination of Steve and Kazuya, and they've both been getting stronger and stronger placements recently, with Rocky making top 32 at Kaguribi, and Mirror having a great placement at Karisuma SP17. Makino, a Sheik player who surprised everyone by making top 8 at the last Itsukushima, is looking to repeat the feat and help cement themselves as a strong player in a region that doesn't see too many huge tournaments. And lastly, Miko, another Kazuya player, has been making a big name for themselves at the local level, winning a bunch of Akinshi Smash events over the likes of Kashiya, Nizemamo, and Money Right. It's going to be really interesting to see them at a larger event like this. Itsukushima is a 2-day event with round-robin pools starting at Saturday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 11:30 p.m. local time. Then, on Sunday, Top 128 will start at 9 p.m. Eastern, with Top 8 scheduled for 1:10 a.m., and the event will be streaming on this YouTube channel, whose name I can't pronounce. That's all for the B tier and above events this weekend, but there are still a number of C tiers to look at, starting with Exploria Smash Episode 14 in Switzerland. The top 2 seeds of this event are Mr. R and Quick. Now, both of these are strong European players who are coming off of rough recent events, with Quick getting 4th at the Gamescom Invitational with 2 losses to Longo, and Mr. R getting 5th at the Smashing Future 2 just last week. But rest assured, these are 2 players who are top 10 in Europe skill-wise, and they'll be looking at this event as a chance to re-establish that and further cement their records going into the end of the year. Keep an eye on the 3rd seed Jaka though, one of if not the best Isabel players in the world, who does things with a character that I wouldn't even believe possible, and who has defended his region at events like this before, including against strong players like Orion. Explore Your Smash Episode 14 will start at 6 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, which is 12 p.m. local time, and it'll be streaming at twitch.tv/ExploreYourGG with side streams at twitch.tv/QuickSSB and twitch.tv/MrRSmash. Next up, we've got Smash That Trash Redive. This is one of the largest Filipino tournaments of the year, reaching C tier and featuring a ton of strong players from the region. Now, I'm not super familiar with the scene, so I'm not going to be able to get too deep into the storylines going into this, but you definitely want to watch out for 67, a Steve player who won Deep Blue, a big Filipino regional earlier this year, and you, an Aegis player who got top 2 at Rev Major, another huge event in the region. And the top seed, Ko Urim, also known as Reese, is a Wii Fit trainer who won a monthly back in July after a 7-set losers run. These are all fierce competitors, so this is sure to be a really exciting event to watch. Smash That Trash Redrive starts 12:30 a.m. on Saturday, which is 12:30 p.m. local time. Then on Sunday, you've got Wave Champions number 5. Now this is an interesting one. Wave Champions and the Wave series as a whole has been undergoing some pretty harsh backlash from the Japanese community. This all started after the official tournament Twitter account posted a joke about how a lot of top players weren't signing up for Wave 5 back in August, and there was a huge backlash from the community there, with people basically saying that it seemed like the TOs were complaining about the community not being interested in their event and blaming the scene for the lack of signups. Going into this week, Wave Champions 5 actually only had about 22 people signed up, and the official Twitter actually posted that the event wouldn't be held unless they were able to reach 64 signups. Thankfully, after this got a bit of traction online, more top players came out, and now the event has almost hit B tier. At the time of recording, seeding isn't published, but the top 2 seeds are likely to be Shuton and Ken, 2 top-level Japanese players that most of you should be familiar with. Now, it's actually been a fair bit of time since we've seen Shuton and Ken face off in bracket, despite them being known for often playing in tournament. So if they both make it to grand finals, we're definitely going to be in for a treat. Also, keep a lookout for Leaf and Kep. Leaf is a Robin player who's been on a steady trajectory in the Japanese scene, recently getting a Zachary win at Delta number 5, and Kep, a well-known Diddy and Isabel player, was able to upset Rapi at Kaguribi 11 and took Ken to game 5, so he's definitely another player on a hot streak. Wave Champions number 5 will start at 12 a.m. on Sunday, which is 1 p.m. local time, and will probably be streaming at the Report Smash YouTube channel. Lastly, as tends to happen on quieter weeks like this, we have a lot of D tiers to go into. First up, there's Osnabrücker's Smash Olymp number 4, a German event featuring Entei and Solo. Solo is coming off of a big win at the Smashing Future 2 last week, so I'd say he has the momentum going into this. We've got LA Super Nexus 7 in Louisiana featuring Lukewarm and Firefly. We've got Hylian Zone number 3 featuring Raflo, Flo, Orion, Modzai, Natoru, and Rarcure in France. This one has actually almost reached C tier, and might by the time this video comes out. We've got Mali Monthly Game Night in Georgia featuring Didi, Sonido, Mugen, and Cola. Cola, of course, preparing for his big return at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami next weekend. We've got the Empty Throne number 2 featuring Riddles and Burst, though Riddles is apparently sick and might not make it out to this one. We've got Smash X Ramboot Deluxe number 2 in Spain featuring Siski, Utopian, and Peppo. We've got Busey Esport Masters featuring Leon in France. And we've got Gator Landfall 2023 in Florida featuring Chunky Kong. And that's all for this week's events. Be sure to like and subscribe because although this week's video was short, next week is going to be so busy that video might end up being twice as long. My name has been SDG, these Chessman sprites are by Nuga and eMuffin, and my ending theme is by Popsky. And I'll see you next time.